Hey, what's going on, my friend? It's Jeff Newport from ChasingStrength.com. And in today's video, we are going to answer the question or questions. Why do you need more muscle? And more importantly, how do you build them in a time-efficient manner using just your kettlebells? All right, so let's dive in here. All right, it's no secret, or maybe it is, if you're new to these neck of the woods kettlebell training. But when the kettlebell movement kicked off back in the late 90s, early 2000s, right around 2000, 2001, 2002, it was on the back of Pavel Satsulin's book called Power to the People, which was a tome about getting stronger without bulking up by harnessing the power of your central nervous system. So it was quite the opposite of anything that was being written about at that time. The book was excellent. And it was very much an anti-bodybuilding culture. And that anti-bodybuilding culture made its way, at least in my humble opinion, into the kettlebell culture of the time, right? And I can say that because, I was entrenched deep into that culture back in the mid 2000s up until the early to mid 2010s as a staff instructor for Pavel and his various certification/businesses. All right. So, look, I know somebody is going to challenge me here and say that the Russian Kettlebell Challenge, the book, the Russian Kettlebell Challenge, Extreme Fitness for Hard Living Comrades, truly kicked off the Kettlebell Renaissance. And yes, I know that Pavel did briefly allude to how to get huge in there. But my point here is simply this, that power to the people and that philosophy was baked into the kettlebell and RKC, if you haven't been around, is the Russian Kettlebell Challenge community and culture. And that building muscle just wasn't the focus, right? It was about being wiry strong, right? And having wiry strength. And any muscle that you grew from your kettlebell workouts, which was, again, touted as building wiry strength, right? We put the air quotes in there, wiry strength. That was just purely incidental. And I think that was great for what it was at the time, right? And at the time, it was very countercultural. It made those in the kettlebell community and those seeking that type of outcomes stick out from the rest of the fitness community, right? So it was not your typical 3 sets of 10 body part split, bro, right? In fact, there is even a funny story about Pavel at the Arnold Classic, the famous bodybuilding show put on by Arnold Schwarzenegger, and some behemoth bodybuilder attempted and spectacularly failed at pressing a bulldog, which is a 40-kilo kettlebell. And this guy was about 240, 250 pounds, right? And he couldn't press 88 pounds over his head. And of course, that story got woven into the, strength before mass methodology, which later became Strong First, right? If you're familiar with that group and that philosophy, which is great, by the way. You should be involved there if you're not already. Okay, but it's interesting because Pavel, he not only resurrected the kettlebell, he reintroduced much of the lost old time strongman style of training using muscle control or high tension techniques. And you know what, man, those things work great. They still do work great. So if you're using them, keep using them. If you don't know how to use them, you should learn how to use them. But the biggest problem that I see, and perhaps the only problem with that style of training, is that as we age, we lose muscle. And we lose it at the rate of about 10% of our total muscle mass per decade, right? Which means the muscle you have on your body at age 30 is not the same amount of muscle that you're going to have on your body at age 70 if you're not proactive in gaining and keeping it, okay? And sometimes these high tension techniques, or many times these high tension techniques, are paired with what's called neural strength training. Okay, so what we're looking to do is increase the efficiency again of the central nervous system, which takes us back to the beginning of this video. And that's not conducive to building muscle mass. So even though you're getting stronger or maintaining your strength as you age, you're not maintaining your muscle mass. So, we have to do something different, right? Because whether you like it or not, the science is unequivocally clear that muscle tissue forms the backbone for your strength. In fact, the more muscle you have, the greater your strength potential, especially if you learn how to use those high tension principles that I've alluded to earlier in this video. The other thing that is just, you just can't argue with this, is that science is unequivocally clear that the more muscle you have, the healthier you are. Okay, so having more muscle contributes to longevity. It potentially reverses metabolic diseases like Syndrome X and type 2 diabetes. It improves cellular function and your mitochondrial health. Okay, that's super important if you like to do little things like live, Okay. So having more muscle increases energy demand, and therefore you actually expend more calories during and after exercise and at rest, even. Okay. I mean, not a whole lot at rest, but more than you would if you don't have a lot of muscle on your body. And every little bit helps as we age and we stave off the aging process, right? Okay. So having more muscle, here's one of my favorites. It improves your glucose utilization, right? So in other words, you get to eat more carbs without having them being stored as fat on your body. Okay. And of course, having more muscle potentially decreases your joint issues, assuming that you're training correctly and not like a meathead moron like we used to do when we were kids, right? And that's just to name but some, right? And hey, those are all very important. So assuming that you would like to live longer, healthier, at least a healthier life than the average individual who, the last time I checked, I think the average man dies at 73 and he's probably on a fishing tackle box full of medications. You should probably build some more muscle too. I'm not saying that you should start training like a bodybuilder, throw your kettlebells away, stop focusing on strength training and go pick up a muscle and fiction and do the bro split out of there. That's not what I'm saying at all. Okay. What I'm saying is there are simple and highly effective ways that you can build muscle with your kettlebells. And I'm going to give you one right now. The simplest formula, if you will, or at least a very simple formula, is to take an exercise that you enjoy, like the clean and press, right? Find your 10 rep max and then perform multiple sets of 5 with it until you get tired. Okay. Or you set a time limit and you perform multiple sets of 5 until you run out of time and then you're done. Okay. Very simple. You repeat each workout or training session until you can no longer do more sets of 5. This is time tested, right? It's a form of density training. So this will work really well for you. But the problem is using just sets of 5 is the law of accommodation kicks in pretty fast using this, right? And so what that means is, in other words, your body's going to adapt really quickly to this particular stimulus. And then you're going to need another one in order to keep the gains, right? So gains, just in case you haven't been around this channel for a while, we spell gains around here, G-A-I-N-Z, gains, bruh. So the law of accommodation is going to kick in and your gains, they're going to drop. Okay. So how do you fix that? How do you navigate and rake the law of accommodation, so to speak? Right. Well, I'm going to leave a link in the description below and you can check out a program that I've used personally, right, that I've built and that guys, man, all ages from their 30s into their 70s are using, and they're seeing great gains too, right? This particular program enables you to build what I call practical muscle, right? And so it's muscle that you can use instead of that bloated bodybuilder muscle, right? So if you like bloated bodybuilder muscle, this isn't for you, but this particular training plan, this will pack some muscle across your shoulders, your arms, your upper chest, right, your hips, and it's just generally going to make life easier. In fact, if you go over to the Strong First forum, there's currently a 149-page thread that's been going since November of 2020 on this particular program. In fact, there's actually 5 different variations of this program that you can choose from. So I think you're going to enjoy it. You'll find it a lot of fun. It's super productive. And pretty much everybody who's used it has reported phenomenal results. Like, guys are shocked at what kind of results they get from the simplicity of this plan. All right. So again, I'm going to leave that link in the description. If you want to check it out, you can. But look, at the end of the day, just remember, being strong is important. It's critically important, right? In order to stave off the aging process and stay healthy and feel young. But also remember that you're going to be potentially stronger and you can stave off that aging process even longer if you have more muscle on your body. Okay. Say, hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, click the like button, leave me a comment. Tell me what you think, right? Have you tried old school bodybuilder programs, right? Did you come from that school like I did? Right. And if so, what were your results? And how have you used kettlebells differently, or how have you used kettlebells in order to build muscle, right? Leave me your ideas, your comments, your opinions, and which did you like better, right? Which is working for you better now? And yeah, I just look forward to hearing your thoughts on that too. Okay, so leave me your thoughts down there in the comment section. I'll respond back to you and give you my thoughts on your thoughts. And again, if you found this video helpful, click the share button, share it to one or more of your friends that you think would find this video helpful too. All right, and if you haven't already, go ahead and click the subscribe button. All right, until next time, stay strong.